Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Final Split. It is episode number 13, and we've got a lively bunch with us here today. Starting with the very lively hair of Sinister One. What is going on today with the hair? Look at that.
Just got it cut, man.
Just got it cut. Yeah, it's standing out. It looks good.
It is big.
Anything going on this week? Any big news from Sinister One's angle?
Not really. Well, my donation stream went really well, so I'm definitely going to SGDQ. So
awesome.
Thanks everybody on that.
Yeah, lots of people prepping up for that. Spike Vegeta, how are you doing this week?
Doing great. Had a lot of fun with my front page of Twitch showcase. That was a lot of fun. Got a lot of followers from that, so feeling good.
Yeah, we'll talk about the showcases a little bit later too. So keep that in mind, you smart individual. And our guest this week, without his hat because it is so warm, we have Breakdown in the house. Breakdown, how's it going, man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Holding on to the hat though. It's nearby.
Yep, just in case.
Just in case. All right.
Never know.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive right into it with our first topic of the day. It is our press start topic. And today that is an unusual challenge that TMR has proposed for himself and is actually already in the process of trying to do. He's currently trying to beat every NES game. On a scale of 1 to 10, how crazy is he?
709. That's how crazy it is, because that's how many NES games he has to beat.
Whoa, good knowledge. This were around the horn, I'd give you a point for that. Yeah,
No, it's the biggest thing that I wonder about this is not just how long it's going to take him, but is he going to stream? Forget streaming. Is he going to eat? Is he going to sleep? Like, what's he going to? Yeah, seriously though, is he going to stream anything else until this is over with? Because if he doesn't dedicate himself to this, this literally will take years. Literally will take years. So
very real possibility.
I don't know. It's an interesting challenge he gave himself. I think it's cool, but I do wonder when he's going to hit some roadblocks. I don't know. I'm not a big NES gamer. I don't know if anybody else in the call knows a little bit more about those. What could stump him a little bit more?
I don't know if we have some NES guys in the house or not. Who could they be?
Let's see what we got here.
Breakdown actually is probably the most NES knowledgeable. I will defer to him.
All right, what are going to be the hazards, Breakdown?
I do have a few NES games, a few hundred.
Wow.
So
not the full 709, but
I
close.
do not have
Close
the full
enough.
700. No, about halfway. But let's see. There's definitely some roadblocks. Well, first there's the games that how do you beat? That's you have the educational games like Color Dinosaur. How do you beat Color Dinosaur?
Yeah, what is the ending criteria there? Is he just going to color one dinosaur and that's it?
Yeah, I think you at least have to do all 16. I think that would be a good baseline there. Yeah. And then you got stuff like Sesame Street 1, 2, 3, and ABC. I don't see how you beat that game. Fisher Price Perfect Fit. How do you beat Perfect Fit?
So aside from the games that maybe don't have a clear ending, what are some of the games that do have a clear ending that might be just monsters to overcome?
Well, from what I gather, he's trying to do this spoiler free. And he's already had he had some fun with Battle of Olympus, from what I gather. Took him some to the effect of 9 hours. And there's definitely far more unintuitive games on the system than Battle of Olympus. I mean, you've got Legacy of the Wizard without guide. I played that game for months when I was a little kid, and I never got anywhere in it, and just ran around and killed stuff.
A lot of people saying Takeshi's Challenge. It looks like the chat.
That's a Famicom game, so I don't think that's included.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
TMR's Quest. So.
I think he's going. Yeah, is that confirmed? He's going specifically for NES only. He's not trying to go like unlicensed titles or anything like that. He's sticking strictly to the, released NES list. I think that's what he said.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
And someone in the chat saying he said he's only counting games that can be beaten and only officially licensed games. And I actually did a little research on this, and there's another site I post on that has a thing where the members try to beat every NES game over the course of a year. Okay. And the list they go off of is 674 long.
Okay.
So
interesting. So maybe they have some exclusion rules.
Yeah. What are they omitting in that
games
situation?
That can't be beaten? basically.
Okay, so the ones that you mentioned, the Sesame Street.
Now, I know Nest Kamikaze did something similar last year where he tried to beat as many N64 games as he could over the course of a few days. And I think his determination was, well, if the game doesn't have a clear ending, I'll decide when I've beat it. You know, like if it's a sports game and, you know, it doesn't have like a season mode or something, right? It's just like, I don't know, you're playing NBA Jam, right? And there's no season mode. Let's just pretend. There's somebody in chat already is like, NBA Jam has a season mode.
What are you talking
but
about?
you know, he just, you know, he win one game, as long as he beats the opponent, that's good enough. He moves on, something like that. So I mean, he could in theory even just kind of make up endings for some of these games too. But I'm excited. I think Highline's going to be another disaster if he doesn't know what he's doing.
There's definitely some pitfalls and hazards that await. A lot of the RPGs, like you got the Ultimate games, the Wizardry games, Bard's Tale, Might and Magic. Yeah, but none of those hold your hand in the slightest on your way through them. So getting through those without a guide would be seriously impressive. You got lots of tough platformers, though. I think that's more up his alley. I mean, he's already gone through Battletoads. He runs Battletoads. And apparently his chat's picking him for him, though, too.
Yeah,
so
that's another interesting element to this is if you guys are interested in this at all and you see TMR streaming, you can be the guy that screws him over or helps him out by picking the next game. If you're in his chat,
he's got to play them all at some point.
That's true. It's true. But
it might be you give him Highlight up front.
But okay, so are you going to be that guy, Spike? Like, are you going to be the guy that bestows Highlight on him? Like, you're not, you know, going to be gentle and give him.
I'm going to be the one that doesn't let him get 500 games in and then get Highlight and realize he's not going to complete this challenge.
Okay, you're gonna. Okay, I see. Tough love, but it's out of the gate. All right.
Sure.
What games would you? What games do you guys offer if you get chosen here? Sinister One.
I would go with something like what Spike's saying. I'd go with something a little bit more on the difficult side. So probably some obscure RPG just to see if this is for real. Okay. Like if he gets through that, then he's gonna know like I'm either going all the way or wow, I really picked the wrong thing to do right here.
All right, breakdown. If you had to bestow a game upon TMR, what would it be?
I'd probably give him something tough but good. Something like Cobra Triangle or Solomon's Key. Something that's definitely going to make him work for it, but he won't hate himself the whole way through.
Right. It's not the agonizing, you know, game's fault. It's more just like the difficulty of it is intriguing.
Yeah. NES hard is a term for a reason.
Yeah. Spike, how about you?
Well, I mean, yeah, and we do joke about this, and, you know, Sister One already said it. One game I'd like to see him play soon would be maybe like a Legend of Zelda. You know, maybe just because we've all done them recently, but, you know, the Zelda 1s and the Zelda 2s, something with some length to it, again, he might enjoy and actually beat in a day.
And potentially have some familiarity with too.
That game is tough to find some things in, so he would be, cause since he's doing the no spoilers, like, that would really
Zelda 2 will be rough.
Yeah, it's an interesting challenge to say the least, and yeah, I gotta imagine it's gonna take him quite some time, so we'll see what he does with it, but that's just to keep you guys informed of what's going on there. So if you ever see TMR streaming in the next several days,
years,
you know, when we're all done with speedrunning and have moved on, and TMR is an old man still trying to complete them all. No, I have faith. He'll impress us. It'll
you
be
think you think he's gonna finish? You think he's gonna finish?
Let's do this. Let's do.
We have an
pick the number of games.
How many games do you think he gets through? I could see him getting through 500 games. I really think I could. It's gonna take him time, but
I'm hoping that Spike gets to him early, and I'm gonna say 57.
57.
Wow.
57 games. All right. Sinister One, no faith at all.
Throwing that out there also because I believe that's another prime number. Just saying.
Wow. All right.
This guy.
Anybody else? Breakdown. What do you think? Are you more optimistic than 57?
I'm more optimistic than 57 because I could see this persisting for a while. I just think eventually burnout is going to settle in, or he's going to want to move on to a new project, and it's probably I'll say 157.
157. Okay. All right. Spike, did you pick a number?
222.
Okay.
I got a little bit of faith.
Not all. If this is Price is Right rules, you could have said 158. You'd have been just fine. But
Oh,
All
sure,
right.
sure.
Now you left a gap. Now you left a gap. You went over. You know, when it's 221 games and breakdown wins, that's your fault.
Gonna be reeling.
All right. Let's. Yeah. Whoa. Let's move on, guys. It's time to take a look at the Clippy Clip. This was a user submission from our friend Phalinator, who plays Yoshi's Island. He's doing some work here on the boss, kind of making the boss into a glitch please of his own. Take a look at what happens after he kills Salvo here. He just decides it's time to leave. Up and over. See you later.
See ya.
Nice.
Boss still dies. He completes the stage.
How many bosses in Yoshi's Island can you do this with?
I don't know that you can leave the screen, particularly on a lot of other fights. I know you can get really close to the lava without dying. But
yeah,
Salvo
that was the big tri-hex thing back in the day.
Yeah, Salvo is a really glitchy boss to begin with. It can soft lock a bunch of different ways. You can actually kill him, and then he'll just sit there without blowing up, rendering the game soft locked. But yeah, it's an interesting fight, kind of a cool trick. And he claims it saves frames to actually leave the screen like that. So
just from lag reduction, or
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'd like to think so, but you have to take his word for that. Don't take mine.
Sure.
But
either way, it looks swag. So
an interesting trick. Thanks for sending that in. That's the best way to get on the show, by the way. Make us aware of what's going on. Send it into our inbox, just like Phalinator did. Might show up on the show. But now let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk to Breakdown for a little bit while he's here. And I guess the first question I have for you is, you got to break down Goomwitty for us. How did you discover Get Out of My Way, I'm Trying to Eat You? We showed it on the show a few weeks ago. This is an interesting game.
I went back through the archives and saw that, actually. I saw it during the blind tournament. It was one of the games they played in the top 8 for the mystery tournament, and looked cool, so I picked it up and played it, and yeah, it was fun. And I'm like, yeah, I'll give this a try, and did a stream, did some runs. It caught on for a little bit. It was fun.
How mechanically similar is it to like Super Meat Boy? Because I know you're a big Super Meat Boy fan as well.
It's pretty different, definitely. It's more about velocity, like the velocity power-up you get in the first world. It definitely changes the feel a lot for Meat Boy, so it's very much its own game.
Something new and fresh anyway.
Yeah.
So speaking of like just GDQs in general, can you give us kind of a breakdown? So God, I knew I was going to do that. I before the show went live, I'm like, don't say... okay. All right.
You break this down.
You win game. Okay. Can you give us just kind of an overview, how about, instead, of some of the GDQs you've been involved in and what you've all done?
Well, let's see. I've been doing GDQs since GDQs were a thing. CGDQ. The plan to have the event at MagFest, and it ended up in Mike's basement. That was a lot of fun to put together. That was kind of the fledgling effort for SDA. Basically just trying a lot of stuff out. We had like 20 people for that one, and yeah, just we were trying to actually fill a schedule. It was an interesting problem compared to recent years.
Yeah, that seems like an opposite problem. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So it was filling time.
You're not going to find anybody playing 10 games anymore.
No.
So, yeah, it seems like an old concept anyway.
Yeah.
What
I think I had
that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think I had 7 games at CGDQ, if memory serves.
That's pretty strong. 7
yeah.
games. That's a big number. Now I want to know, was CGQ when you came up with the man thing? Because you're kind of known for that. You're like one of the early hosts, and you kind of started that whole thing, and it just caught on.
Yes, that happened at CGDQ. Some late night commentary shift. I think it was during like Mario Kart and Yoshi's Island or something like that. And I was just tired and babbling with the chat and talking at the camera for the sake of talking and yelling at donators that they were the bad, and it just sort of became a thing. So that was like the second night of the event. It carried through to the end. Other people started doing it. It just sort of became a thing. So
yeah,
definitely picked up steam.
It's that catchphrase. Yeah, it's been there for forever. It's awesome.
It almost became its own like sacred thing.
Yeah.
Like if anybody else tried to say it, it was
right.
Like,
I'm always afraid when I'm on the mic now. I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tempted to do it, but it's not my thing.
Yeah, I've never once called anybody else out for saying it, but I know other people have. And it's just like they've told me about it too. It's like I kind of want to say it because I think people want to hear it, but it's your thing. It's like, whatever, okay.
I was like, I'm trying to decide how Breakdown would react in this situation. You know, he's in like the back of the room. The donation comment reader just tries for it once. You know, they have like a stare down.
You just picture me like flying across the room, tackling the host station or something.
Topple him, take over.
That's not yours.
Now, are there any great stories from Classic Games Done Quick? Most of us here, obviously, we're more familiar with the recent AGDQs, the SGDQs. Is there one particular thing that you kind of always hold on to from Classic Games Done Quick that's, I guess, just always going to stick in your memory?
Getting it off the ground. Like, basically trying to set it up at MagFest, deciding we couldn't set it up at MagFest, and then basically making the decision to tear everything down and move it across town to Mike's house. Like, that whole 6-hour sequence of events. Something I'll never forget.
I'm going to jump in for just a quick question on that note. What were some of the complications with trying to run it at MagFest? Was it just the fact that it was kind of unknown at the time, or was it they had organization reasons?
The thing that really killed it was that the hotel had recently switched internet providers.
That'll do it.
And in doing so, basically the ballroom did not have internet. So there were moments where we could get maybe 0.2 down or something like that and broadcast a slideshow. There were very, very tiny brief VODs of footage from MagFest of Entergy trying to play Mega Man 1. And I think the longest one is 20 seconds.
Oh, man. Can I follow up on that? Because I was there too, but I want to ask you, if we had working internet there, how do you think that would have turned out? Because we were in that room, it was really kind of crowded and loud, to be honest. So how do you think that would have played out?
It might have killed the GDQs as we know it. It's a very real possibility. I don't think it would have been nearly as successful. We wouldn't have had the kind of chat interaction, the kind of on-camera shenanigans and things that we were able to pull in a more controlled environment. So I think the background noise, the lighting, and I think it would have killed it. I really think MagFest not having internet that year is why we have the GDQs that we know today.
Interesting.
I agree.
It was not let me ask too. So having been there at Classic Games Done Quick, obviously a lot smaller of a venue, a lot smaller just in scope, the amount of people that were there compared to now. It's practically a convention. What I guess was your preferred approach to it? Do you like the growth of it? Is it getting too big? Is it what's more enjoyable from the runner's perspective?
That's a tough question because there's aspects of both that I really enjoy, like the smaller event and the bigger event. It's awesome to see this grow. Mm-hmm. It's really, really cool to see this thing and I mean, we go from being super excited about $10,000 with 20 people to 500 people raising $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, what's not to like about that? And it's you lose some of that close, tight knit feeling you do at the smaller events. It's you can't go to a GDQ now and meet everybody.
Right.
It's
everybody doesn't know impossible. Your name anymore.
Right. And so definitely it's, I don't know, just growing pains. I don't think it's worse particularly. I'm not gonna I don't think of it in terms of better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
So
different flavors, I guess you could even say. I mean, even in recent years, just the growth from go from HDQ 2014 to SGDQ last year, and you're talking just a huge change in the number of people that were there. So, do you have a preference between summer and awesome games?
Well, I've yet to attend a summer games.
Okay.
So, I'd like to get to a summer games. I can't make it this year, unfortunately. Vacation time just does not allow. So I guess I have to say awesome games is my preference.
That sounds like a good answer.
It's easier to get to for me, that's for sure. So
I was wondering about, I see a lot of times you'll post that you kind of go to these either flea markets or garage sales or whatever, and you get a ton of random games. What would you say stands out as the best haul that you've ever gotten when you've done one of these things?
Oh wow. Was not a question I was expecting. In terms of straight value, I had an amazing N64 score earlier this year. I got a Ice Blue Funtastic system with a controller, expansion pack, Pokemon Stadium 1, Donkey Kong Country 64, and a complete in-box copy of Pokemon Stadium 2 for $50, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
And okay, as somebody who doesn't, go and search for games, on the cheap, what, like, if I was to try to get into it, do you have recommendations? Are there like strategies involved with trying to acquire games for, a good deal?
Get up early and always ask if they have games. Those are the best two pieces of advice.
It sounds good, yeah.
I mean, I went out this morning, actually. I leave my house like 2 hours before I leave to go to work during the week to hit garage sales and flea markets. And yeah, getting up early pays off.
Can't be lazy about it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I suppose if you're not there right away and, the selection isn't going to be, 7 or 8 rows back, it's going to be that one copy.
Yeah. Now, do you kind of have like a list or something like memorized that like, hey, these are really valuable games that, because like, I mean, I could see like the most valuable game ever and not even know that it was that. So do you just kind of have that committed to memory, or how do you know?
Kind of, sort of. I try to keep a rough idea of prices. Like I'm not like a walking like, eBay price guide or anything like that, but I try to keep up at least on the bigger name games across consoles. And there's some where some consoles I know better than others, like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Master System. Even though I never see Master System stuff, I'm up on those values. And heavy hitters on stuff like PS2, GameCube, and 64. Just keep up on it. So it's a hobby.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun one just because you never really know what you're going to get anyway. It's not like a guarantee.
Yeah, no, thrill of the hunt's definitely a big part of it. It's the best part is right before you leave in the morning, because you're getting everything that you want. And then you get home and you have like, a bag full of random stuff. But before you go, you're like, you're finding that $5 Earthbound. You're going to get that box of Little Samson that they don't know what's worth. And
do you ever like feel sorry for them? They see it priced for a quarter and you're like, no, keep $1. Like, I don't need change.
This one's
no.
No apologies.
No, definitely not. No, well, the whole thing with like the flea market mentality is basically you walk up to somebody and they ask you how much something is. You ask them how much something is, and they say it's $1, and you say, "Can you do 50 cents?" And then they say, "Okay." You ask them, "Do you have change for $1?" So
gotcha.
That is the mentality.
There we
go.
And
now we're getting into the strategy.
I've got my notes now. I'm ready.
Little Samson for $1, and he's like, "No, let me get that for 50 cents, buddy."
You try to bundle it up with some other ones. It's like your games are $1 each. If I take 5, you do 4. It's just.
Well, let me ask you, kind of switching the topic a little bit. So I know at AGDQ 2013, you kind of were taking guesses from people, just how many deaths am I going to have in my run, and kind of just involved everybody in the room in your run, kind of gave them a vested interest in it while it was going on. Do you enjoy just kind of like being kind of the ringleader and letting everybody in on that, or was that just kind of like a spur of the moment thing? Do you even remember? Was that something you planned?
I was doing that in my streams pretty regularly. Like that was always after a run. We did a Price is Right style in my chat. Just guess how many times I died. So just sort of carried that over to the live event. But I don't know. I guess I didn't even really think of it then. I was just like, I do this in my stream and it's fun in my stream, so let's do it at the event.
Yeah,
and
it was
at the event. So.
I thought it was fun. It gave everybody something to root for or against. It's not often that people in the room are rooting against you, but if their death count is a little high, you're not quite reaching that. I suppose they're kind of sitting there silently. So
now I gotta ask you, we do have actually another Super Meat Boy 106% run coming up at SGDQ. What's the over-under for deaths there? I'm not familiar with the runner, actually.
Matty Ice is legit. It'll be a good run. I don't know.
It's always hard because of Glitch Girl, but...
Yeah, that's just it. Is she can say no is really the long and the short of it. I'm sure he's hoping to come in under 100. And, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that run, actually. That's definitely in the top 5 of runs I'm looking forward to at GDQ.
All right, so if we got to go live on camera right now and get the breakdown prediction for number of deaths.
Ooh, write it down. Write this down.
This is your chance to be the SGDQ prediction champion.
SGDQ prediction champion.
Have to start having fantasy SGDQ.
All right. I'm gonna hope for good Glitch Girl luck and a solid run. And hope that he comes in at 92.
92. There you go.
92.
Okay.
Interesting.
Be really good. It would be really good. It would impress the hell out of everybody. That's for damn sure. So I hope he gets it.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting. Chat's already guessing along too now.
Yeah,
They want it to be Prime.
And they're all like, sticking too close now that they have Breakdown's answer. They're all like 91.
sure.
No one's willing to doubt that. So don't doubt the runners.
Nice.
All right. Well, we'll have plenty more opportunity to ask some questions at the end of the show. So stream, if you have questions for Breakdown, keep them in mind throughout the show. We'll come back and jump back in with questions in just a little bit. But for now, let's go ahead and move on and get to some of the topics that happened this week. It is time for Real Talk. And the first thing to talk about in Real Talk might not come as a surprise to any of you. It happened this week. Puncation now has both the 70 and 120 star records in Super Mario 64. Clean sweep in the major categories. So, gentlemen, what do you think, first of all, of Puncation's efforts? And second of all, does he remind you of anybody?
Well,
everybody's flabbergasted by the question.
That's a full question. No, okay. Well, I mean, right off the bat, it's just, for it seems like for what, it's been a year and a half now, Siglemic had the monopoly on 70 and 120. He had both Boardwalk and Park Place right there. And he had a stranglehold on it. Nobody else, no matter how much time they were putting in, was coming anywhere close. And then all of a sudden, Puncation, 6, 7, 8 months he's been working on this game, and now he's got both. It's been a lot of fun to watch. It's been exciting to watch people get excited about Mario 64 because it had almost become just purely like a casual, sure, people are going to run, they're going to get their times, but it's never going to be this huge, almost like event on Twitch.
Right.
So
I kind of remember when Siglemic was first going for 70 star, how big a deal that was. Everybody was jumping into chat and getting excited about 70 star. And then, after that happened and, the 120 star kind of follows, it's just kind of been there. Like, I guess, people will still watch, but there wasn't really a vested interest because there was no competition that could keep up anyway. You kind of had your challengers every now and then, but this is the first time we've really seen back and forth, I think.
Yeah.
In a long time, anyway.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a lot of fun to watch. It's been nice watching even if he never improves this time, it's been nice watching Puncation almost force Siglemic to get his 143 after a year and a half of being 2 seconds short of it. So that's been really fun. You also ask, what does it remind you of? I think this particular story, probably my favorite speedrunner journey, I guess, if you want to call it that. It kind of reminds me of Garrison with Donkey Kong Country, actually. It was, Gary just didn't want to touch Super Metroid anymore, kind of got burnt down on it after HDQ 2013, and then out of nowhere just picks up Donkey Kong Country, and it seemed like it was just going to be this real kind of casual side game he was going to play, and within, maybe 2 months, he had the 34. He had finally reached the Halo 34. Now he's down to a 3354, and just watching both that he was having fun with it, but also had really high standards, that he wants to get that game to a point where it's basically one mistake and he resets. That's what he stated. Watching him play that game for a couple of months was a lot of fun. That was a stream I couldn't miss for a long time.
All right, let me jump over to Sinister One.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say how impressive it is to topple both records, because a lot of times in games, different categories it almost takes a different skill set in a way. So to do it so quickly, over 2 categories on such high profile records is really amazing to me. And I don't know, maybe one of you guys knows if like Puncation kind of started out, did he just start out like racing or playing for fun, or was he kind of like always gunning for the record? Does anybody know that?
I don't really pay attention to whether they were racing or not, but I would assume, just based on what I'm seeing, he's kind of going pretty hardcore into that 120.
But I mean, like, so nobody knows.
You're talking about the SRL?
I'm talking about originally, like where
his origins,
like kind of his origin story. Was he just like some random person that was racing, or did he come out of the gates like, I'm really trying to get a good time and I want to, go far in this game? Nobody knows.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know.
Yeah,
the only thing I remember originally was Siglemic basically coming out and saying, "This is the chosen one," Months and months ago, Puncation will be the next great Mario 64 player.
So
and this was before he had top tier times. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason I was asking that is because I actually had two people that I could choose from for my answer. So I was trying to get the more appropriate of the two. But I guess I'll go with let's just pretend that he was gunning for it from day one. I'm going to go with that. So basically, I would choose a guy named Heidman, who's on SDA, and he kind of came out in the forums. And right away, I remember like some of his first posts were like, "I'm going to beat Frezzy Man in Contra," and I was just like, "Ha." like who is this guy?
Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah. I mean, Frezzy Man had like an untouchable record that had stood for like I don't even know how long. It was one of the original runs that people just put as like, oh, nobody's ever going to beat that run. You know, like there's beatable runs and then there's like these, untouchable. And he came out and said that, and then he actually followed up on it, which was the more shocking thing because you'll get so many people that'll come into the forums or wherever and say, oh yeah, I'm going to go for this. And it just never materialized. Sure. But he actually did it, and he kind of I think he shocked a lot of people. I think he definitely surprised folks.
All right, breakdown. What do you think?
Well, actually, just to build on like people popping up in the forums and saying they're going to do something, this one is actually kind of carried out strictly just on the forums. Actually, essentially with FF6. I remember when that thread popped up like way back when, and like this was before streaming, so we couldn't actually watch the progress. But I just remember seeing this. I'm going to single segment Final Fantasy VI, and it's like what? No, that's crazy.
Don't do that.
This was Final Fantasy games. Those are long. So this was like I don't know 2007, 2008, something like that, and just I don't know the concept of like a 6-hour speed run or whatever, because it was about. I think 6 hours the first run. I don't remember the exact time, but it just struck me as a ridiculous concept, just speedrunning an RPG. And then just watching like, the progress post, and it's just like, oh, I've got this area planned out. I've got strategies for this area. Now I did a run, got this far. Oh my God, I got a run that died in Kefka's Tower. And like, this was all just through forum posts, but it was so exciting to read. It was like, you just click and refresh on the forum, hoping something new's popping up. And then the time hit, and then not too long afterward, it was up on the site, and I don't know, that was definitely cool to see. So yeah.
I love those heydays of the SDA forums where, again, you didn't have runs. There wasn't streaming. We couldn't see it all the time. So when you got those little updates on we've done this, this, and that was so exciting.
Yeah. It's like you maybe got like the random YouTube video or something like that, but that was about all you could ever hope to actually like see in terms of the run. And it was just relaying it through text.
Yeah, kind of playing it by ear and waiting to hear what's the new strategy you found or things like that.
Well, yeah, sometimes you wouldn't even hear it all. You would just see a submission under the verification thing and be like, "Oh wow, somebody did a run of this." You know?
Nice.
Yeah, just kind of like maybe unexpected. Like no one really even knew that person was running the game.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Golden, do you have one?
Well, I mean, you took Garrison with Donkey Kong Country, but it kind of parallels to me more with just his overcoming of Hotarubi. I thought like that jumped into my mind. It was, Hotarubi's Super Metroid run was like a staple. For the longest time, people are staring at it like, hey, I wish I was as good at the game as him, but I can't think of a way to, reach that same level. And that was back when, game time, real time was still kind of up for, debate. Which one should we really go by? I'm not really sure which one is more important. There were still people doing game time runs versus doing real time runs. You don't see that anymore. So kind of like that whole conquest, finally taking down Hotarubi, both in real time and in game time. So it's interesting that you picked same guy, but different game.
It is a good choice no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
we're obviously right. So
we're both right. Yeah, that's fine.
Rules,
that's fine.
So.
Gotta love the still one of my favorite speedrunning clips to watch is him achieving the 30.
Yes.
Is
very
and
genuine
just how
moment.
elated he was. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember him like taking off the shirt, putting the webcam on. Yeah. And when Garrison puts the webcam on, it's a good moment because he's not one to put the webcam up all the time. So he had to share the elation of that moment. So, anyway, really cool stuff. I think we're going to see a lot of back and forth. I'd like to see a lot of back and forth. I hope it continues. It's exciting. We'll go ahead and move on. Our next topic here, actually, Puncation was a part of this, so there's your segue.
There you go.
We had the speedrun spotlight occurred on the front page of Twitch the last couple of weeks. It's, I think, finally wrapped up now. The last one was yesterday?
Yes.
Yes,
Ivan went
closed
yesterday.
Ivan's was the
Last
final
night.
one. What do you guys think about this front page? How did it go? I mean, we've obviously talked about what it was on previous shows, but what do you think as far as feedback goes for these guys if they were to do it again? Do you think they should do it again? What would you change?
I see no reason why they wouldn't want to do it again. I think they've expressed, right up front that they'd like to have a second series of speedrunners. I'm interested to see what other communities they really delve into now afterwards, because they want to do it with a bunch of different communities. I kind of agree with what you said earlier. Maybe not as many, because I almost felt a little tired as a viewer. I wasn't as interested in future weeks after, I guess, the second week as the first week. But there were some people who had some amazing nights. We already talked about, Caleb Hart had an absolutely amazing night earlier this week. Obviously Puncation almost got the 143 on on his stream. So I think there's a lot of good entertainment that comes from it. I think it gets to showcase speedrunners' abilities both to play at a high level and also get to give great commentary. I loved watching, people like Ivan do that last night. I thought, we got to see a part of Ivan that you normally don't get to see. He's a little more quiet during the stream usually, or just has the collective on. So
let me ask, from your own experience, I mean, you were a part of this as well. You and I both had a chance to do it. What are your thoughts just from your own experience? Was it something that you would consider beneficial or, worth your time?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I'm the kind, I'm a little vain. I always like to perform in front of people, and just getting to have that one night where they're going to say, all right, you're now going to, instead of the 200 or 300 you stream for, we're going to put you in a stadium of 5,000. And it's just all going to be about you. You get to showcase whatever games you feel particularly strong about. There's no what games can you get into GDQs and whatnot. So getting to showcase myself and the games, I get to be the director of the whole thing, meaning I'm going to use my time. I utilized it to try to plug other people's streams, try to plug my channel itself. Just getting that kind of control for 2 hours was really exciting. And another thing about it was you could make it last. I know Tudos actually found a way to say, all right, we're got 2 hours here, but I'm going to make it a 24-hour stream. So he knew how to kind of squeeze everything out of it. Say, hey, if you guys like what you see, please come on over to the channel and check it out. I think a lot of people, played with it as well as they could. They had a great time. I think showcased the community a lot. And hopefully there's a bit of a trickle-down effect that it is reaching out to these other streamers that, the other people who play the Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freezes of the world, the other people who play the Donkey Kong 64s of the world, the Mario 64s, whatever it is, people just have more of a realization of what it is. Maybe playing SGDQ and the future GDQs in it. So.
Well, okay, so let me ask, let's take it over here and give Sinister One and Breakdown a chance. So, I mean, obviously one of the major goals of the event is to just kind of raise more awareness of speedrunning and speedrunning streams. Do you think those goals were accomplished?
You can go ahead, Breakdown.
All right. I'd say it definitely helped to raise awareness. Front page exposure will definitely do that. People will watch things that are on the Twitch front page. I've definitely watched random streams that I normally wouldn't otherwise watch just because they were on the Twitch front page. So yeah, speedrunning exposure, definitely a good thing. That said, moving forward, I think they will do another one. I'd like to see the actual spotlight put on streams that need it more, I think is the best way to put it, because you've got these people with tens of thousands of subscribers, followers, sub buttons and things like that. I mean, I get why they did that, is because it generates revenue for them as well. Partners with ad revenue, they get half the subs. It's good for Twitch. But at the same time, you've got I could even see keeping it to partnered streams, and maybe focusing more on streams with partner that just don't quite they want to give a boost.
Sure.
I think that would help them on the business standpoint, plus giving more exposure to potentially other great runners out there. So That would be
along
my
those
big criticism.
along those lines. Some of the people in this spotlight didn't even have partner or subscriber. I think a fair criticism of the event might be, well, if you're going to consider them big enough to get in on the front page deal, then shouldn't you hook them up with partner and subscriber too? Like, doesn't that kind of tie into the whole idea?
Yeah.
You'd like to think so.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. I feel like some people should get some emails in the coming week about the whole thing. So it'll be interesting to see, because I know where a lot of us, all of us involved are going to get feedback on how we did. So I'd be interested to bring this back up later on that, oh, okay, I didn't do this on the front page. I was supposed to do this, So.
Sinister One, any other thoughts?
From any other angles? I think it's great, and I really enjoyed what I watched of it. And certainly people seem to be enjoying themselves, and the chat was, doing pretty well. I thought, they weren't like trolling people or whatever. They seemed to be enjoying the streams genuinely. And I think it's also another good way for, some of the people that were featured, I don't think have been to a GDQ before. So it's a kind of a nice way of like, hey, I maybe can't get to a GDQ, but this is another way that I might get an opportunity to, kind of show off something for the speedrunning community on a bigger stage. So I kind of like that aspect of it. And I do think that they should do it again. And they can't overdo it. I mean, I like the fact that if they keep doing it on like a somewhat consistent basis, then that can kind of keep speedrunning more in the mix throughout the course of the year, as opposed to, we have our summer games done quick, we have our awesome games done quick. The rest of the year we're kind of quiet. And that's something we've obviously been trying to work on as a community with the whole, the SDA channel is now doing more things. So I think this just adds to that, and it should be good overall for the community, not for specific individuals that are involved, and also just the community in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair criticism to say, maybe they played it too safe, and some of us that are on the front page, it's like, hey, we're already kind of the viewer bigwigs or whatever. Spike's favorite acronym, BNR. I'm gonna use that BNR. Yeah. But at the same time, if it is a test run, why not go, guns a-blazing and see what happens? And hopefully, as a result of that, they, are able to say, hey, this was really successful. We're going to bring it back. And then turn around and say, okay, who do you guys want on the front page? Who do you think deserves that opportunity? Whereas this time I felt like it was more like an invite-only kind of thing.
Yeah. It seemed that way.
Yeah, I would be interested to see, who do you guys nominate for the next one? It's a tough decision, because you can't pick somebody who isn't going to have that front page level of interaction with their chat too. I don't feel like that works. Even if you have the best gameplay in the world, if you're not talking to the chat, if you're not interacting, very few people can get away with just gameplay. So it's a tricky situation.
Sure.
All right, the final thoughts on this. If you were to give Sinister One.
Oh, I'd go maybe someone like K-Mac, Kiss My Apricot. He's really good runner, kind of not so well known, and I think he could certainly put on a good stream for people.
Breakdown, do you have any suggestions? Would you be a part of it if they offered it to you?
If they offered it to me, yeah, I'd do it. I don't have partner or sub or anything like that. I don't think I'd get it. Especially lately, I haven't been streaming all that much, so my relevance currently in the Twitch community might not be there. If I was going to nominate somebody, be this guy up here.
There you go.
I think, yeah, you definitely deserve it, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the sun.
Who doesn't love the blindfolder runs? I mean, that would bring back the hype for sure. Everybody loves that. Spike, do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, there's a bunch. I'd like to see DBX actually get a shot. I think DBX is hella entertaining.
Yep.
I think Dime with Doom would put on a great show. And one person who was left out, I know he's already a big name, but I love him. I love more people to know about him, would be Feasel. I think Feasel's always a good choice.
Yeah, and you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah,
so never know what you're going to get with Feasel. I mean, he could play 30 or 40 different games and have no problem with it. So
right.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I think there's people out there that definitely would excel on the front page. I ended up rating Joe D'Amelio at the end of mine because he was live. I think he's somebody that would do just fine.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they don't do it again. I mean, I'd really be shocked.
Yeah. I also think if they do it again, though, we might see it be a little bit shorter next time around, just because 2 weeks is maybe more than they would want. But that's up to them to decide, not us. So
Right.
yeah, there's lots of names out there. Hopefully, we'll see this many more times in the future. And in the meantime, it's time to go on. Let's take a look at this week's big play. But before we do that, a disclaimer that
Whoops.
this is why we didn't make it the record setter. I had the foresight to know that used pizza was going to break the Mega Man 10 record. So this week's big play is from a previous Mega Man 10 personal best of used pizza. How about that? Okay.
Literally broken 5 minutes before the show.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to do some commentary here, so I'll just mute the Skype.
Finally. Damn. I'm sucking at that coil. You know, as sad as I am, I'm not going to SCDQ. I'm kind of looking forward to just watching one again. Because AGDQ was, you know, great and all, and I'm certainly going next year. But it's kind of like watching it is its own fun, especially like looking out for rumors of hilarious drama and ridiculous things that speedrunners do. This is my way of saying I actually hate you all. See, Rom Scout doesn't know what I'm talking about because he's never watched a marathon from home. The smell. The smell is overblown. It's more like the heat. Thank you. This run is now alive.
Get in, Nitro, man.
All right. So having seen that,
chat, dude.
yeah,
Whoa.
we've got. I think the chat's having a whale of a time right now. I just wanted to say. So obviously outdated at this point. Down to have they decided? Is it a 34.59? I think it was like right on the buzzer, like 35.
When he hit split, it was a 35.06, but he clearly hit it a little late.
I think he's a little late. Yeah, that's.
This brings us back to BJW's beating Ken by literal frames. I think he got it by frames.
Okay, so we think he's in there, sub 35. That is awesome. So during the clip, you guys in the call didn't get to hear it, but he was kind of talking about just what it's like to be at home during a GDQ for once. He's actually not going to be able to go to SGDQ. But I guess for any of us that have had the opportunity to watch a GDQ online, which might not be everybody in the call, it is kind of a different experience. What do you think changes when you're at home? Obviously not being a part of the event, but...
having to be a responsible adult sucks. Just having, I feel like all the time when that happens, it'll be like, oh, my favorite runs are coming up and it's time to go to work.
Yeah.
Or it's time, do whatever you have to do. And then it's just like, it's hard. You can't ever plan what runs you want to watch when you're at home. It's just, all right, whatever I happen to turn. Oh, well, I guess we're watching, Halo 2 right now. Never played the game, but whatever. But I missed entire Mega Man block or whatever it might be. So, and it's also just different watching the chat along with it. I feel like you pay more attention to how chat is reacting to everything.
Yeah,
what things they're taking well, what they're not.
And DP kind of talked about that a little bit there in that video. He says it's kind of a different experience because you get to see all of the drama unfold. Like if somebody's picking their nose on camera, you're more likely to notice that at home than you are if you're sitting like 8 rows back.
Yeah.
So you get to kind of jump in and see what the chat's doing, reacting to. But
yeah, I've had a mixed experience, because even though I go to a ton of GDQs, I usually don't go for the entire time because I have a full-time job and whatnot. So, I'll watch certain days at home and
Sure.
and then I'll spend certain days there. And I would say that, in my experience, I used to enjoy watching it as a viewer, kind of when the chat was not quite as active, and you could maybe get a little bit more of a conversation going.
Those days
are
long
kinda
gone.
Those days are almost gone by. So, being at the event, you're always gonna kind of prefer to be at the event, but it's nice to watch it at home too. It's either way, it's gonna be fun.
Breakdown. Do you have any thoughts?
There's a lot less pressure to wreck your sleep schedule when you're at home. That's for sure.
That's the big one.
Yeah, it's like, it's not, you got to stay up and support your friend who's running this game at 4 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, you can watch the VOD and tell them later, oh, you did good.
Absolutely. I remember AGDQ last year, same thing happened to me actually. Striker had Star Wars at like 7 in the morning. And it was, Spike, I think you stayed up for it too.
Yeah.
We're just sitting there like,
if
it was anybody else, like, I'm going to be sleeping through it. Sorry, man. But yeah, you definitely sacrifice the sleep schedule a little bit when you're at the event, but you get to see more runs as a result. So
yeah,
a lot less pressure to have to worry about real life for a few days. But yeah, it's hard to believe, but we're kind of like, this is almost like a countdown episode to SGDQ. We're going to have just a few more weeks before we're all taking off and heading out there.
So close.
So
3
close,
weeks
man.
from right now, we'll all be setting up. Well,
right. Well, yeah.
I won't be.
Way to insult the guest, Spike. You and I both. We're just we're terrible people.
Okay.
Sinister's going to take over the show from here on forward. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this week's record of the week. Smartly chosen.
This one's still the record.
Still the record as far as we know. I don't know, unless somebody in chat wants to call us out. Here we go. This is Reflected's Donkey Kong Country 2. This happened late last night. 41:36 is the time, by the way. Him and the Claude have been going back and forth in this game for a while now. Just kind of chipping each other's time by a second or two.
Shoutouts to the Claude, known famously. I remember when they said he had the record, I said, what, the Final Fantasy Tactics guy? And so shoutouts to RPG runners, proving they can also play other games.
But it came out of nowhere on this one.
Yeah, and
I have no idea.
like, I think almost kind of forcing Reflected to, again, kind of like the Siglemic Puncation situation, having all this competition all of a sudden, made it a lot more exciting. And it's just amazing seeing how consistent these runners are at the game. Is that, you come into someone like a Spike Vegeta's chat, you're going to see, a bit of a roller coaster on your splits. Never are these runners more than plus or minus about 5 seconds. And it's unbelievable how many runs they get so deep. There's so much amazing tech in this game, so much you have to pull off. It's an amazing run to watch. One of my favorite SNES runs.
I think it's maybe fair to say that when you think of the hardest speedruns, so to speak, when you think of the most technical games, Donkey Kong Country 2 doesn't jump up immediately on that list. But when you look at how optimized the runs are, I think you kind of have to maybe make a little bit of a case for it, because it's like you said, so optimized, and it's down to the seconds at this point.
Yeah.
+2 is maybe a consideration of a reset.
Yeah, at this point, if they get any bad RNG from the first boss, they pretty much reset. And it's, we're talking about literal seconds here, but those come back to haunt you if you don't worry about them. Here you've got, one of the craziest levels in any Donkey Kong Country run. You've got Web Woods.
Web Woods is my nightmare. I think I took 41 minutes and 36 seconds to beat this stage.
Just to beat this level. Yeah.
I can't plant the spiders. And of course, Toxic Tower. This is a stage that Reflected's been working on a lot lately. I've seen him doing like RTAs of it 50 times in a row just to get these double jumps because they're all so precise. That is a thing of beauty right there. People who say that video games don't belong in museums have not seen Reflected's Toxic Tower climb.
Oh
that
my
is
gosh.
just so good.
Yeah, unless you played this game, you don't understand how hard double jumps are. It's such a specific window that you have to fit all those in. So, yeah. Absolutely unbelievable play by both Reflected and the Claude. This has been an amazing competition. I hope it doesn't stop, but it gets to the point where, 6 seconds ago, I thought the run was close to optimized. Now it's down to 30 or 41:36. We'll see where it goes from here, but unbelievable job so far by both of these gentlemen.
Yeah,
these guys are
absolutely
definitely doing a great job with the back and forth, and I mean, there's some other competitive runners as well. This is the kind of game that you could maybe see as a 4-way race at a future EDQ.
I think that would be awesome.
Maybe awesome games done quick. You know, that it would be something. That would be a very, very high race. That would be like kind of like a main focus of all the races at a marathon.
No, I don't know. I was gonna say, you know, I think that would be a lot of fun to commentate. I don't know if this has ever been done before, but could we somehow work out like a 4-way relay Donkey Kong Country, like 1 and then 2 and then 3, and your team's at 3?
Oh wow! Well, you have to find 4 people on the planet who play 3.
Okay, maybe we'll do 1 and 2, but not 3.
Okay. We can definitely find. Gary can have his own team. We can do this.
Yeah, we can just project Morks onto all 4 screens. He just play. He can play 3.
Who's gonna win?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but
DKC2 would. Yeah, I agree with Sinister. DKC2 would be an amazing 4-way race. I know they've always talked about it. DKC2 just served as a great racing game. You know, it's a pretty tight knit community. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Get Golden, Sinister One, and Twig maybe on commentary. I think that'd be some pretty top tier stuff. I think it'd be really hype. People have a fondness of the DKC series.
I think Twig would have that brutal honesty too. Like he'd be like, "Yo, that strat right there, that was he copped out right there. That was he could have saved 5 seconds, but no, baby strats." But what an awesome run though. It's so cool.
Twig might also be one of the runners too, though. That's the thing. If it's a 4-way race, you know, you never know if Twig might get up in.
He might have to step his game up a little bit. I don't want to be the one to tell him, but yeah. He's going to have to get off the baby strats himself if he wants to be able to play.
Dang, Golden with the call.
That's right. Me with my 4-hour casual Donkey Kong Country 2.
I was going to say you're 41
sitting
minutes.
on my high horse here. In all honesty, though, like I've thought about learning that game just because it looks like it's really solid platforming. I mean, you see just how smooth the movement is throughout that whole game, and it's nonstop action. I think it's got all the right elements of a platforming game. Mixed with good speedrunning elements too. Lots of barrel setups and all that. So you're skipping stages.
Lots of variety, cool glitches. Yeah. It covers all the bases.
Some games
pacing is so good.
Some games are just built for speedrunning, and that's one of them. Whether it was intentionally or not, it's all the pieces are in place.
Oh, it definitely was not intentional.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, let's move on, guys. Let's move on. We'll give guys in the chat an opportunity once again to watch the replay by visiting that link. Or just head over to Reflected Stream. Give them a follow anyway. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happens when things don't go your way. It's time for Glitch Please. Sinister One, can you maybe give us a little bit of insight as to what's about to happen here?
Oh, some things are about to happen right now. This fine gentleman is trying to dig his way down through the sand, but something might go down. He might get stuck.
All right,
in the ceiling.
That's miraculous. I'm stuck.
What?
Oh man.
That face.
Did I just glitch the game?
Stuck in the ceiling.
Oh no.
He's trying.
I glitched
You can do
it.
Mario.
Son of a bitch. I was doing really well. Oh, I've never seen that.
He kind of looks like
I was
Adam
like,
Levine.
Yes, I avoided
A little
it.
bit. A little
Oh,
bit.
that sucks.
This guy could be a singer.
Are
we not sure?
In a boy band. That might be his day job.
Do you think Neon Streetlight is his band name?
I think it could be, actually, as a matter of fact.
It could be.
I've never seen this happen.
Would you buy an album
I'm trying
by
everything.
Neon Streetlight?
I'm hoping
Only if
like,
it had
as
the
Shy
title
Guys
tracks
walk by, that
in
you
the
could do
ceiling,
something
then
about
I would
this,
consider
but-
it.
Well, as a matter of fact,
Well,
I've got an infomercial here for Neon Streetlight's newest
tried
album,
everything.
Stuck in the Ceiling.
Oh, man.
that sucks.
All right,
Bring it
so I think we're going to have to show you guys. I don't think you're going to believe us. This is the infomercial for Neon Streetlight's new album, Stuck in the Ceiling. Take a look. You've seen everything you've needed to see from Neon Streetlight. Now experience his Mario Bros. 2 Glitch Fest for yourself in audio form. Neon Streetlight's debut album, Stuck in the Ceiling, features several hits that recap his experience.
Well, that was miraculous. I'm stuck. Did I just glitch the game? I glitched it. Son of a bitch. I was doing really well. Oh, I've never seen that. I mean, I guess I'd have to save and quit. I've never seen this happen. I'm trying everything. I'm hoping, like, as the Shy Guys walk by that you could do something about this, but no. I've tried everything. That sucks.
Operators are standing by to sell you neon streetlights stuck in the ceiling deluxe CD set 7 easy payments of $19.95. Just 7 easy payments of $19.95. Call 1-800-NSL-SING. That's 1-800-765-7464. 1-800-765-7464. Or send check or money order to Neon Streetlight TV, offer $8.95, 12.7th Street, Not the Run, Maryland, 42069. This infomercial is not real. Do not attempt to purchase this album yet. Oh... okay, maybe had a little too much fun with that one. But
I think you had exactly as much fun as you were supposed to with that one.
Absolutely, yeah. I hope albums are flying off the charts right now. I hope we assisted. So
well, they got to make their first payment, and then their second payment,
yeah,
and then their third payment, and their fourth payment.
And
they'll get
after
there
that,
eventually.
they'll have to think about whether they'd like to make their fifth payment, their sixth, and their seventh. So
right,
it looks worth it to me.
Well, guys, thanks again to Neon Streetlight for sending in the highlight there. If you would like your highlight to be turned into an infomercial on a future episode, or potentially something else, you gotta send us your highlights, your big plays, your little plays, and everything in between to thefinalsplit@gmail.com. Of course, you can also follow us on all of our wonderful social media over there. Watch old episodes on our YouTube.
Wrong way.
That's the best way to keep up. I'm currently on like episode 3, man. I'm working my way through. We've also got our Twitch and our Twitter. Our Twitter announces when we go live, by the way, so you'll never forget. Even though it's usually the same time during the week, just in case you might forget that. Follow us on Twitter. But it is time to wrap up the show here. So if you guys have questions for Breakdown or for any of the hosts in general, feel free to express those questions now in chat. It's time for the boss rush.
All right, does Sinister have one? Because I got one I can ask actually real quick.
Get in there,
Okay.
Spike.
All right, sure. I was going to break down. I was always a big fan of watching, we talked about speedrunning journeys. Yours was Super Meat Boy. I remember when that game first came out and people kind of joked about doing a 106% run and not dying 5,000 times. Can you bring up any of, like, I don't know, any specific memories or anything you had of having to start that journey of trying to get that game to where it was feasible for a marathon?
Let's see. Well, I remember AGDQ 2011. There was talk of Super Meat Boy had come out like a couple months prior, and there was talk of having it next year, and we were talking about like splitting it up between like 6 different people and everybody playing an individual world for any percent.
So you just
Like,
focus, sure.
because it would be so hard. But let's see, I hadn't played the game at that point. I picked it up like 2 months later, streamed my way through like 100% completion or something like that, and I just kept playing it. So it got its hooks in me real bad, and it was just a lot of fun to run too. Like recorded a bunch of ILs and did any percent for a little while there. Then had like the not quite like the Dark World ending run or whatever it was for AGDQ 12, and then I wanted to do 106 for AGDQ 13, mess around with the other characters and stuff like that. It was a really fun run to plan out. 'Cause at that point, like really, there wasn't a whole lot of strat out there for 106, so planning out the bandages and like the warp zones and things like that, it was just a lot of fun. In terms of like specific individual memories, first time I cut the 150 sticks really, really firmly in my mind. Like that was a good feel, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. That was a lot of fun to do, definitely. One of the highlights of my speedrunning time.
On that same note here, we're starting to get some chat questions now. So this question says, it's from the Rixer. Breakdown, does the music in Super Meat Boy keep you playing? And is it nice to have in the background while speedrunning the game?
I never once muted the game. Never once did. So, yeah, no, the music's awesome, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, makes the playing experience more enjoyable. So, yeah, thumbs up to Meat Boy music.
From Copilot 11 here, I think we found another Goomwitty player. He wants to know, how do you reset Goomwitty?
How do you reset Goonwitty? Let's see. Well, there's a new build out for Goonwitty actually.
Can we just briefly explain what this is? I know we talked about it earlier in the show, but just in case people don't know.
Oh, it's Get Out of My Way, I'm Trying to Eat You. It's a freeware game. To reset the regular game, you have to delete your save file. It's the only way to do it. But there is a new build out which changes a lot of levels around and stuff like that. And it actually has a new game function, so you can just start a new game. So
would you say this is a good blind race game? I think I get the impression it's short enough.
Blind race, you might want to cut it after World 4 if you're going to do a blind race. The last world can take a very, very long time your first time through it. Those levels are very difficult.
Okay. Well, we'll see if anybody picks it up here. Some questions from the chat. Sinister, last week, this is from Annihilator. Last week you mentioned that newer runners don't know how to reset right. What did you mean?
Okay, first of all, I have a correction. I didn't say newer runners. I just said some runners. I've just seen it in
I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I would basically, just to boil it down, because I could talk on this for 20 minutes. You don't want to reset based on motion. You want to reset based on numbers and whatever your standards are currently for resetting. So just keep that in mind. I don't want to go into more depth than that because it would take too long.
Like if you get one red split and you reset, you're probably, overthinking it a little too much, maybe.
Yeah, or sometimes like people might reset early on just because they didn't get a certain mark. Like say they're playing a game that's stage by stage and it has a stage timer, and it's like, oh, I didn't get 119. I should reset now because of that. But then they make another mistake that's the equivalent in the next stage, and they don't reset over that. So it's like you're having an inconsistent standard of resetting. So you kind of want to. Those are other things too. But like I said, too in depth. I'll tell you. Come into my stream.
There you go. He'll give you the whole lecture.
Yes.
From Number LP. We've got a question for Breakdown. Are you aware that the now world record holder Uga bought Super Meat Boy just because of your AGDQ run? And what are your thoughts on that and his record?
I didn't know I was the catalyst for Uga to start playing Meat Boy, but that's kind of cool. Definitely. I think that's pretty neat, certainly, because he's bloody amazing at the game. That run is ridiculous. If you haven't watched it, you should hunt that down and do that because, it's so good. It's disgustingly good. Oh, yeah. So, that's my thoughts on that. So,
there you go.
Hey, if I made that happen, awesome.
You showed him the way. From Dudleyville, when is your return to Rystar?
When is my return to Rystar? I don't know. It's a game I've kicked around actually coming back to, because there's a good minute of improvement in that run I have on SDA. Like a good solid minute. It would require a certain amount of luck, but there's definitely more than a few execution errors, and there's some new strats out there now. So
and
I don't know.
A new runner also, isn't there? Or is he?
Yeah, his name's Dudleyville. He's the guy asking the question. I think he wants competition. Yeah, I think he wants active competition.
Okay, so first of all, you inspired someone. Now he's trying to rope you back in. Come back to my game.
Can't find anybody else.
It's not often that you hear people trying to rope people back in too. Like, please come back, please come back. Beat my time. Let's see. This is an interesting question. What is everyone's favorite superhero characters?
Wow,
that's off the walls.
That's too many to choose from, man.
I grew up with Batman.
Pick one. Going Batman.
Well, I'm going
Batman's
Wolverine,
my knee jerk,
dude.
actually. So
okay. I'm gonna go with Spider-Man. That's it. No explanation.
Good.
Just
relatable.
There we go.
Just
I could see Golden being Spider-Man. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No one's supposed to know. No one's supposed to know. That's my secret. Final question. What is the best Final Fantasy? There we go. That is the final question. Best Final Fantasy.
FF9.
Okay.
To play 8. The story is ridiculous, but I love the junction system.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Sinister 1?
Are this serious answers only, or are we supposed to be?
Absolutely not.
Well, then I don't know. It's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
There we go. A good answer. Yeah. Mine is Quest 64. So there you go. That's.
Wait, AGDQ wasn't Nest Kamikaze the best Final Fantasy? Didn't an AGDQ poll determine that?
Did he win the best Final Fantasy? Nest Kamikaze?
I think he did win.
That's hilarious. Do you think we'll ever see the end of the best Final Fantasy donation war, or is that something that's going to be there every time?
They've tried to fight against it.
Yeah.
I think the charity certainly hopes we don't.
Hope it continues. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. We've answered enough questions there. So we are almost done with the show, but we have one more parting thing that must happen for us to properly disengage. It's time for the speech. Anybody have any final thoughts they'd like to add? Put the icing on the cake?
Hey, I went last week. You can't go 2 weeks in a row. That's a show rule, I'm pretty sure.
I thought we were just going to have like 30 seconds of silence there and then cut the stream.
30 seconds. We should this week.
That quiet icing.
No, I guess just once again, big shout outs to 3 major records all being busted this week. 70 Star, Mega Man 10, the 34. That's been a time people have been talking about for a long time now. And DP gets it 5 minutes before we go live. Donkey 2 down to the mid 41 mid 41 now. Shouts to both Reflected and the Claude for that. And it's as we go forward with speedrunning, it gets more and more exciting to see the competition, people popping up, getting that interest. We just talked about Oga didn't even know about speedrunning really until he saw Breakdown 106%ing it, and now we have these god tier runs of it. It's amazing to watch week to week and month to month, GDQ to GDQ, how it goes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we all like the back and forths. It's always fun. Two people.
Seems always evolving.
Challenge each other. Well, next week on the show, guys, we're going to have Sweetie T, Mario Runner, Luigi Runner, Mario and Luigi Runner. I don't know. Maybe he runs Mario and Luigi as well, but player of all Mario and Luigi type games. So join us for that. Same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And of course, tune into the Sunday Sequence Break tomorrow. But that's going to do it for us, guys. Just remember that your run's not over until you hit
the final split.
We'll see you later.